Furious 7. Furious 7 is the seventh film in the Fast franchise, and this one is about, kind of hard to explain actually, it's about Jason Statham is getting revenge. He's the brother of the villain in Fast 6, and he's getting revenge for the fact that they took down his brother. And in order to try to find him and get to him before he gets to them, they have to find this device called God's Eye that can essentially find anyone on the planet using video cameras and all that fun stuff. Who cares about the plot? Really, who does? This is a Fast and Furious movie. Turn off your brain, have fun. No one cares about the plot. Now, this movie was not directed by Justin Lin, who directed the last four. Instead, it is directed by Justin Wan, who has directed things such as Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring. So he's more of a horror director doing an action film. I have to say, he does a pretty good job. Is it quite as good as Justin Lin? No. But you can tell that James Wan has seen the franchise. He's a fan of the franchise. He has fun with this franchise, which is a great thing. And that's how I really want to start out with this, is the fact that there's a lot of throwbacks to the other Fast and Furious movies, and he does such a great job with them. Everything from street races to the butt shots that we see of girls' butts all the flippin' time, of the rap music, the over-the-top stunts, everything about it. He does a great job with this movie. He really understands the franchise, and I love seeing that. Now, as I always talk about with these movies, the opening. The opening with this movie is fantastic, and it is probably my favorite opening of a Fast film. We start with Jason Statham, who is a great addition to this cast. He plays the villain in this movie. He's taking revenge for his brother's, not life, but for them taking down his brother. And the opening of this movie is just, we see what Jason Statham can do, and fantastic opening. Now, not only do we have Jason Statham in this movie, we also have Kurt Russell is in this movie, and he plays this, he works for the government, he's kind of like a spy kind of guy. He's a very mysterious character. His name's actually Mr. Nobody. Very interesting character, great addition to this cast as well. I've talked about the soundtrack in past reviews, and this one probably has my favorite soundtrack. I love when the music is put into this movie. I love when we hear the score of the movie. I think it's perfect soundtrack for this movie. Again, this is not a movie for everybody, and you can tell within the first 10 minutes if you're going to enjoy this movie or not. If you're not, stop watching it, because it's not going to get any better for you. Now, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of great throwbacks to this movie, and they're put in a perfect amount. I don't feel they're jarring. I don't feel that they're horribly placed to the point where it's just throwback, throwback, throwback. They do a great job of just putting them in, weaving them in nicely to put us a smile, bring us back to some of the moments that we loved in the other films in this franchise. I know how to talk, guys. Great action in this movie for the most part. I mean, and they do a great job, once again, of making it seem real. They do as much practical stuff with it as they can. So they do a great job of showing this. It's got a lot more action than I think any of the other Fast movies have. And I think this one takes the action to a whole nother level, because they are really, really doing things that are totally impossible, that you totally cannot live through. As I said in Fast 6, these are superhero movies now, because there are so many times where a character should die, and they don't. They get off their feet, barely, maybe a little scratch on their head, and it's fun. It's just fun. Turn your brain off, have fun. Again, the cheesy moments are back. This one has got to have I think I said this the last two movie reviews, but this one has got to have the most family-related lines in a movie probably ever. This movie would be a great drinking game, because if you take a shot every time Vin Diesel says something about family, just Vin Diesel, you're going to be annihilated for days. It is amazing how many family lines they can fit in here. I feel like it was a competition just to see how many family lines you can put into a movie. Again, it's a lot of fun. That's the big thing I need to say about this movie. It is so much fun. And as far as how much fun I had with this movie, I would say it's the most fun I've had watching any of these movies. It's my favorite as far as fun goes. It's not the best movie, I would say, in the franchise, but it is the most fun I've had with these movies. I saw this movie 9 times in theaters. 9 times, guys. I enjoyed it that much. And, if you didn't know, about halfway through production, Paul Walker died, the actor who plays Brian O'Connor. And so with this movie, they used every bit that they had with him that they had already filmed. And then they also used some CGI and his brothers, who look very similar to him, to help finish up the production of this movie. And they do have a send-off for his character at the end. And it is a great ending for this character. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful ending at the end of this movie for what they do for Paul Walker and Brian O'Connor as a character. Just fantastic. Yeah, I'll admit I cried watching this ending the first few times because it is just heart-wrenching. It is a beautiful, beautiful ending for this character. The CGI of Paul Walker and the fact that they used his brothers, it works. You can tell that there are moments where he is CGI, but it works. It really does. And you can tell there's different camera angles, and we're always seeing him from behind. But again, it works. If you're not looking for it, it works. Now, as far as my negatives go, I have a couple big negatives, and then I have a few little nitpicks that I can't really necessarily dock points for, but I have to bring them up. First of all, the Letty drama I did not like in the 6th one. The fact that they brought Letty back, it drove me nuts. There's more Letty drama in this one. There is literally, at the beginning of the movie, she says, oh, I have to go, I can't do this, I don't remember anything, I have to go. She's back 15 minutes later. Like, every time we see Letty on the screen and she has this drama, it slows the movie down. The movie's way too long as it is. The movie's it's 2 hours, 20 minutes, I believe. And take that stuff out. It doesn't need to be there. It drives me nuts. And again, we focus more on the relationship between Dom and Letty. I think we should focus more on the Brian and Mia story. It would have been even better send-off if we would have seen things that happened to Dom and Letty in this movie happen to Brian and Mia. Just because I think their relationship, their chemistry is better. So the Letty bits drive me nuts in this movie. The other thing that really gets to me is the fact that some of the hand-to-hand action scenes, and some of the action even, they're really quickly edited, really poorly edited, just fast-paced editing. And it's not the best. You can't always tell what's going on. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. I want to stress that. It's not horrible. It's just, compared to 4, 5, 6, it's definitely, James Wan definitely doesn't 100% know what he's doing, unfortunately. And it shows. And I wish that it would have been a little bit better. Now, few nitpicks. Ronda Rousey, the MMA fighter, has a cameo scene. She says one line, guys. One line. One. And she's a terrible actress because that one line is awful. It's literally 2 minutes of the movie, but when it happens, oh my God, do I roll my eyes. Terrible, terrible actress. Stick to MMA fighting. I know you just lost a couple fights and you're probably doomed as far as career goes, but stick to it because, you cannot act. She's terrible. Another thing is, again, you can kind of tell when it's CGI Paul Walker, but especially at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but I think it really, where he's bright and it works. It works, but you can tell. I can't make it a negative because the fact he died. It's not their fault. It's just what we could do at the time with what happened. And that also leads into some of my other little nitpicks. The fact that there's quite a few subplots that don't really mesh together. It doesn't always work together. And I think part of that was because they had a movie written. And then Paul Walker died. So they had to rewrite a good chunk of this movie and try to stitch things together as best as they could. And because of that, I can't dock points. I'm just saying, it's there. a little annoying. If you didn't know that, you probably would dock points off. Another thing that also involves Paul Walker's death is the fact that there's less Rock in this movie. The Rock was, a lot of people call him the Viagra of the Fast and Furious franchise. He brought the Fast and Furious franchise with Fast 5 to a whole new level. And he's maybe in 15, 20 minutes of this movie, probably not even that. And again, part of that was because his filming schedule did not work, I think is what happened. It was set to work when the movie was supposed to come out, I believe in 2014. The movie actually ended up coming out in 2015. So it got delayed and he couldn't film all his scenes that he was supposed to be doing. So they had to rewrite around it. So again, I can't make that a negative because of what happened with Paul Walker. So in the end, guys, this movie is flawed, especially comparing to the other two that we've had before that are amazing. However, I think this one has fantastic, over-the-top, amazing action sequences that I love. I mean, we're sending cars through buildings. We are just jumping off cliffs in the air. We are dropping cars out of airplanes. I mean, climbing up buses. Lots of amazing, fun action sequences, guys. But the movie, the story, isn't as good. But why do we go to see these movies? We go to have a fun time. We go to turn our brains off. In the end, guys, movie is fantastic. A lot of fun. Has a great send-off to an actor that wasn't the best actor, but he was a fantastic guy from what I hear. And he deserved that send-off. So in the end, guys, I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. Now, speaking of 8, Fast and the Furious 8, I'm not going to call it... Okay, I'll call it right now. Fate of the Furious is coming out this week. I will probably have my review up maybe Friday, maybe Thursday. Friday. I'm not sure when I'm necessarily seeing it. I'm hoping to see it Friday night, my local drive-in, which I'll have a video of that up soon about drive-ins and the importance of them. However, Fate and the Furious, that is the one coming up. That should be up very soon, guys. I am losing my voice, as you can tell. I think I'm getting sick, which sucks. But anyways, guys, if you like this video, hit like, subscribe, share, whatever else there is to it. I'm going to take a nap.